Welcome to the SDG Learncast with me, Pauline Duman. In every episode, I bring you insightful conversations around the subject of sustainable development and learning, helping us all to achieve a sustainable future. In this episode, we dive into one of Europe's most inspiring urban renewal stories, the transformation of Germany's Emscher River. Once an open sewer running through the industrial heartland of the Ruhr region, it is now a thriving green artery for wildlife and communities. I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest, Professor Dr. Uli Paetzel, CEO of Emschergenossenschaft, about how a river went from symbol of industrial pollution to a model of ecological restoration and community pride. Welcome to the SDG Learncast, Professor Paetzel. Can you tell us about yourself and your work as CEO of the Emschergenossenschaft?
I'm now for nearly 10 years working for the Emschergenossenschaft. Before, I was for 12 years a mayor of my hometown in the middle of the Ruhr region, a small 65,000 people town called Herten. As a CEO of Emschergenossenschaft, it's quite important to work together with all the cities in our region, with all the stakeholders, those who are taking care on sustainability, climate change adaptation, the political parties, everyone who's really willing to change our region into better.
I've seen some of the pictures and some of the news in the past. It really looked like a sewer and it's a huge river, which is basically dead. Can you tell us the story about how Germany started tackling these urgent problems and really laid down the groundwork for this comeback that we see today?
It all began in the era of industrialization. In the 1840s, 50s, the steel and the mining companies grew bigger and bigger. People coming from Poland, from Silesia, from East Prussia to our region. A lot of workers with their family came here to spend their lives. Because of the very, very intense mining activity, there was a subsidence of soil on more than 842 square kilometers. That means that we have to pump a lot, that we have to look what to do with the wastewater and how to clean it. And this was a huge question in the 19th century. And for decades, the responsible stakeholders didn't find an answer. That was a point when, after a long discussion, the Emschergenossenschaft was founded. And the simple idea was to use this whole Emscher river system for more than 350 kilometers and change it into open sewers so that the human wastewater and the industrial wastewater could get to the North Sea. Then, after some years of building these sewers, the first wastewater cleaning plants were established, cleaning technologies came up until the 1980s. And then mining activity stopped in our region and a new consciousness for more green and blue spaces grew up. The climate activities, especially from NGOs, became more important. And then in the end of the 1980s, there came up this decision, okay, we renaturalize the Emscher River. More than 430 kilometers of new sewers were built, 4 huge wastewater treatment plants, a lot of pumping stations were rebuilt. And this means that it was a complete change of our region from gray to green and blue. And this is really a huge story. Nature took back control. For example, after 3 years of this new river, we have now more than 900 species living in and at the river. And we have more than 30 different kinds of fishes in the river. And that's quite astonishing to see that.
That is quite impressive, I have to say. And I think one of the things that also impressed me is that this transformation is not just about technicalities. It's not just about engineering. It's not just about technology. But what it also did is that it created places like the lake,
Yeah.
the Phoenix Lake, but also spaces where people and nature thrive side by side. What is interesting is to hear from you one of these examples or spots that really highlight the project's impact.
You can do treatment of wastewater on a high technical engineering level. you can renaturalize a river. But from my point of view, it's absolutely necessary to see in these techniques more than water or wastewater techniques. You have to be a part of the social ecological change, and you have to know about political importance of these techniques. If you renaturalize a river and you don't build a bicycle path along, it won't work. People have to discover the new river. They have to be a part of the success story. For example, on an old steel mill place in Dortmund, a new river and a new lake was created, Lake Phoenix. This lake is not only a place where new enterprises came, where new jobs were built, where people could find a new housing. It's also a place where we protect this part of the city from stormwater and heavy rain. And so you can combine the transformation of the urban landscape and the transformation in the water sector, and bringing those things together, the social part, the ecological part, and the economic transformation, you do really a good job then.
It's really important that you highlight that it's not just about technology and engineering, but also really bringing people together. And that is why you have created the
Yeah.
bike paths for them to also experience the river. Please share with us, how were you able to engage that social fabric integrated in the plan? And some examples where the local voices really reshaped the project. Also, some voices that surprised you or inspired you.
From my point of view, it's very important that you make people part of the story. You can only win if they feel that this is their project too. So every time there was a renaturalization of a river, there was traffic or whatever, we made a lot of communication with the people living next door. We invited them to have a closer look on what's going on. We always try to give them the possibility even to change a little bit of project if it's really hurting their interests. Another is that we're doing a lot in urban health so that people see they can come around and have good bicycle experiences. We make young people know how a river works. We really try to invest in the social part of the story.
So, with the big projects like this, it also means big disagreements. Can you tell us about a moment when mediation or open dialogue turned conflict into collaboration?
Fortunately, we had no real problem. Everyone was keen on being part of the success story. Sometimes there is an owner of the house and says, okay, it will be a lot of dust. And then we are talking with the owner how to help him.
Let me just go back to what you mentioned because this really made it impossible to build underground sewers for decades.
Yeah.
What made it possible finally? And was there a single point in history that really changed the game?
The end of the mining industry in Germany. In the 80s, 1980s, it was quite clear that the mining industry will close in the next 10, 20 years. And the mining activities took place much more in the north than in the Emscher region. There was no subsidence of soil anymore in this region. And that changed really the possibility to build up a complete new sewer system. That was the simple fact.
Of course, Germany, as part of the EU, you're aligning with EU policies like the Water
Mhm.
Framework Directive. And in fact, you are one of the experts on water governance. I'd like to ask you, how did these frameworks influence your work? And what's a takeaway for other cities who are also aiming for sustainability?
Indeed, the EU legislation helped us a lot. Without the Water Framework Directive, we didn't have renaturalized the river in that way. Once it was established on the European level, it was quite clear we follow the EU directive and we will do it. And this is really amazing to see that political decisions in Brussels really innovate and help us to change a whole region. Without the European legislation, it wouldn't have happened.
One of the things that I also like about the program or the project is that you have programs such as Adopt a Stream and school partnerships. And this is so important because this build a sense of stewardship. And one of the things that I've just read in the news this week is that there is a 60% decline between human and nature since 1800s. It's from The Guardian. And
Mhm.
I was thinking this project is how you really reconnect again
Yeah.
children, right, to nature.
Yeah.
And if you can just tell us about this Adopt the Stream and some other school partnerships that you have.
After having renaturalized the river, we always try to make little blue classrooms so that the pupils can come to the river, that they take a closer look on who is living in the river, to discover insects or little fishes. We cooperate with a lot of schools and try to give them material and advice how to talk to children about life in the river or at the river. We really try to make the children the owner of the river. Once you know how it works, once this is my river, you won't destroy it anymore. It's very important to make these little things. It does not cost a lot of money, but it's very important to get people engaged to their river.
Have you seen that there was an impact in their lives also with the work that they do now?
The first two now applied for a job. So it really works. We don't know any serious or severe damages at the river. In a lot of countries, I see there is a lot of waste in the river. And here you really see that people think that's our river, that's our Emscher. And I have to be part of a good story and I won't put any waste in it.
What is one practical strategies for other cities or other mayors or municipal mayors, governors who are facing similar challenges, and what can they take away from you?
Start to think with water as a part of urban landscape transformation and city transformation. Think of how cities can become sponge cities. So we really try to change the cities so that the sponge, they take the rain stays there, and it's possible for the city, if there is heavy or extreme rain, we will face heavy drought on the one hand, and on the other hand, more extreme heavy rains and floods. This will happen because of climate change, no doubt about it. And so we have to change our cities so that if there is rain, normal rain, the rain is saved. One possibility to make trees getting water, for example. This will affect people's life to better. And if you do it as a mayor, you will be the hero of your town because this change is obvious for everyone.
And you have mentioned your hope story to the mayors, but
Yeah.
there are also listeners who need hope for context where there is no political will, let's say. What can the youth do in endeavors for big endeavors like cleaning up an entire river, for example?
There are a lot of activities which are possible. Cleaning up a river is possible everywhere. And you can change it where you live. You can put a green roof or a green wall. You can put the concrete away from your house and let the water fall in. All that is possible. You can work together with other young people to change the political will of your city. Just try.
Dr. Professor Paetzel, thank you so much for your time. That has been very inspiring. And I hope that to our listeners who are looking for more stories or more information about the transformation of Emscher, Dr. Paetzel, where can they get more information?
More information on our website, www.eglv.de, or you can send a mail to us, or you can make an internship at our company. Everyone is welcome to learn more about our great Emscher conversion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All the best.